Hello, this is Mr. Kent of MrKent.com. And in the past, I've had a couple of questions and some requests to learn more about flight plans. And so I decided, okay, I'll put together one more flight plan video. I've got flight plans for the AR Pro 3. I got several tutorials on that, but I never have made a video on the FreeFlight Pro flight plan. Part of the reason is it used to cost money. I think it comes free now. So this we're looking here at FreeFlight Pro version 5.2.1, and so that's what we'll be using to make our flight plan. But before we begin, there's a couple of things that you might want to remember that I learned some of these things the hard way. If you haven't ever created a flight plan, there's about three different things you want to do before you ever create one that goes, very far away. First of all, create about a flight plan with two or three or maybe four waypoints that are real close by where you take off, so that if you've done something wrong, it's not somewhere far off in the distance where you can't find it. That's the first flight plan you ought to make. And then you make another flight plan similar to that one, but make it where you can, it's in a big park or something where it's going to fly far enough away that you lose connection. Not real far away, just go straight out until you lose connection. And you probably can think of some place locally where you can do that. And one way to lose the connection is just to get the flight plan started and then set the sky controller on the ground, facing down with the antenna on the ground, and it won't take long before the Bebop 2 loses connection. But that needs to be just a short flight plan that you have it in sight the whole time, and when you lose connection, you can kind of still see it, and then turn around and come straight back. So you're just going to have a few waypoints, but one's going to be far enough away that you lose connection. That way you'll know for sure if when it loses connection, it returns properly like it's supposed to. Then the third flight plan that you make should be one that loses connection long enough to make you a little concerned. Like for 2 or 3 minutes, it'll be going far enough away and then turning around and coming back. And the best thing to do is always make these first three flight plans to where if it does go down accidentally, you can walk out there and find it. I made my mistake, and I'll put a link to that video too. My first flight plan that I was testing out, it was way, way beyond what I'm suggesting here, and I got really concerned. So that's the first thing you want to remember. And then the second thing that is key is when you create a flight plan, make sure that you double or triple check to make sure that all those waypoints are the right altitude and that you're not going to run into something going from waypoint 2 to waypoint 3 or anything like that. You'll be working with your map, and I usually try to stay over roads if I'm going to fly very far away, as you can see in many of my videos. And then we're going to be talking about this, but there's two things that the terminology. A waypoint is a point along the way of the flight plan that longitudinally and on the map it's going to have a point, and the Bebop is going to go to that point, and then whether it turns or goes somewhere else depends upon what the next point is. So that's a waypoint. A POI, or point of interest, is a point that is on somewhere on the route that is you're going to have the drone look at that point of interest as it passes by, and we'll be covering that too. So let's go ahead and get started. And one of the things that I have created that I would suggest you use is before you start your flight plan. Let's see, let me go here and find it. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so we'll go here, and I've got this table of metric conversion. It's on my website at mrkent.com/bebop. You can download this PDF file, which is a metric to imperial conversion chart. For instance, if you want to make sure that you get 100 feet into the air, what is that in meters? Well, you come down here on this left side, and in the first column 102 feet is 31 meters. So you could program to go 30 or 31 meters, you'd be at 102 feet. Also, if you notice over here on the far right column, the darkened numbers, in the U.S., 400 feet is the maximum altitude to fly. And so 122 meters is as high as you should fly your drone. And the reason they use 400 feet is because 500 feet is the minimum altitude that a plane should fly over a populated area. And so this maintains a 100-foot safety margin between drones and airplanes. And so that just makes sense. So you've got those 4 columns of conversion. And then on the far right, if you want to figure out how many miles per hour you're going, then if you want to go 18 miles per hour, then you go 8 meters per second. If you want to go 25 miles per hour, you go 11 meters per second. So I would recommend that you that you download that and have it on your tablet or your phone, so that you can use this to reference how high you want to fly in order to clear the obstacles that you know the altitude about. So let's go back to the FreeFlight Pro, and let's just get started here. Now, one of the things I recommend is get yourself a stylus to tap on the screen with. It's much easier than trying to use my fat fingers. Okay, my fingers aren't really fat, but it's as if they were. So we're going to go to the flight plan, and what I'm planning on doing is creating a flight plan that will stay within connection of my home, and then we can follow the flight plan on the tablet's screen. That's not necessary, but it's kind of interesting to see where the drone is on your flight plan, as long as it's within the connected area. So we're going to have to start a new flight plan. By the way, this one here is just a little test flight plan. That's what I would recommend if you're flying for the first time. Just a little three-point flight plan, and it's right in front of my house, and it'll land, and you can make sure that you did your flight plan correctly. So we'll tap on this black bar up here at the top, and go down to the bottom of the screen here. We'll click on New, and that'll take us to this screen, which we're going to use a Bebop 2. And so we have a blank screen here. Now, I'm going to squeeze my fingers together here, and, well, first of all, I'll start my takeoff point. So we'll make a takeoff point right here in the corner of our block. And I'm going to go up to, we'll go up to about 60 feet. So if I want to know what 60 feet is, I'll go back here and come down. 60 feet is, 62 feet is 19 meters. So I'll go back here and we'll set this, we'll hold our finger on there because we lost it, or hold our stylus. And so we'll go up to 19 meters. Well, 20 meters is close enough. And that's where we're going to start. Now this arrow around, if you notice that arrow moves around, and we can have it point wherever we want the camera to point. So we'll just point it down the street here, okay? Now, I'm going to scroll down the street. Actually, we'll make this a little bit smaller, and I'll scroll down the street. I'm going to have it go down to a little, very small park at the end of the street, and we'll make another waypoint, okay? Now, that's at 20 meters, and I think what I want to do is get up higher now that I'm down here at the end. And so from 20 meters, I'm going to go out into the field right out here, and we'll set one up, and we want that to be at 100 feet. So let's go back to our PDF file, and we've already talked about 100 feet, but let's go ahead and, why is that small? I don't want it small. There we go. Okay, so 102 feet is 31 meters. So go back to this, and we're going to hold the mouse on the, hold the stylus on that, and go to 31 meters. Come on, let's go. Okay, 31 meters. Well, all right. Then I'm going to go down the this fence. We'll go down here. Actually, I didn't want that, but that's all right. We'll just have another waypoint there, and actually we can delete that waypoint. Let me show you how to do that. Let's just hold the mouse on it, hold the stylus on it, and hit the garbage can. Okay. Now we'll go down here to where we're out straight out from where we took off, and we'll make a waypoint right there. Okay, and that's going to be at 100 feet. Okay, now then we're going to turn around and come back. Now, one thing you can't do is you can't put a waypoint right next to another waypoint. You got to put it way out away from it, and once you get it made, then you can move it in close to the other waypoint. So we'll put it right there. Okay, and that's going to be at 100 meters or 100 feet. So now we'll come back down the field, and we'll come down here and we'll make another waypoint right there, and that worked. All right, and now we're going to come back to the street, and so we'll come back here, and I'm going to make the waypoint way up here somewhere, and I'm going to move it down to where I want it to be. Okay, but we don't want that to be 31. We want to come, oops, that's too close to that house. You'll notice that house there. We're going to move this baby over. Okay, we're going to move it over here so we don't fly over that house. So we'll put it right there. Okay, and we don't want it to be 31 meters. We want it to be about 20 meters. So bring it down to 20 meters. And I'm afraid that if it's there, I'll hit one of these trees. So I'm going to move it up over here, right about there. And then we're going to move down the street till we get to my house. And then we're going to make a waypoint right there. And that's going to be at 20 meters. And then we're going to have it swing around to my driveway. So we'll make a waypoint right, we'll make it right there. And I'm going to bring it out. And I don't want it to be 20 meters at my driveway. I want it to be like, 10 feet off the ground. And so that's going to be like 3 meters. So we'll bring it down to, we'll make it 4 meters. That's about 12 feet, 5 meters, 15 feet. So that's good. Okay, now then, we're going to save this now that we've got the basic plan made. So we'll click on the black bar up here. And we're going to go Save As. And we're going to call it, let's just call it video, for video. And we'll click OK. And now it's saved. Okay, now we're going to go back, and we're going to learn a few things here. So let's hold our stylus on the line. Okay, now we can click on Edit, and that'll change the line. Maybe that'll change how fast we're going, or we can also insert a waypoint. So we'll just do that for fun. We'll just insert a waypoint right there. Okay, and we can move it down the line a little ways. And that's just for fun. Okay, so we'll leave that waypoint there, or we can actually delete it. We'll just hold our stylus on it and delete it. But we can add waypoints in between if we want to swerve around a tree. You notice the shadow there, if we want to swerve around a tree. But let's do this. Let's go down to the other end of the road, of the block here, and we'll squish things together a little bit. And when we're coming down the street, we're going to want to, as we're coming out to the field, we're going to want our pointer to progress from coming down the street. Let's see if I can get this a little larger here. Never mind, let's just do that. Okay, we're going to have this pointer pointing like that down the street, and then the next waypoint is here. At that point, we want that point to be pointing back down the opposite direction. So we want that to be a smooth rotation as we're going from this waypoint up the, what is it, waypoint number 2 or something, I think it is. So we'll hold our stylus on the green line. Yeah, that's all right. We're going to hold our stylus on the green line. There. Now, if we want, we can change the speed that it goes on that section of the line there by moving this from 5 to, let's just move it to, we'll move it to 8 for fun. So it'll move across there really fast. So we got that done, but let's go back and hold our stylus on that green line and use a progressive course. Now, progressive course means that as it goes from looking straight down the street to the west, as it goes from that point down to the next point, which is looking to the east, the drone, the camera is going to swivel around while it travels, and it's going to be swiveling kind of fast because we speeded up the speed there, increased the speed. So that's the progressive. That's what progressive means. Now, if we decide we don't want it progressive, we can hold our stylus on there and click constant course. And click constant course will make it be, it'll just stop and turn and stop and turn. But we'll go ahead and leave it on there. So let's put it back, make it progressive. Now it's about time to save the video. So we'll go to the black line or save the flight plan. We'll hit save. And then we'll go back. And so we've got everything saved up to this point. And now the next thing we need to know about is how do we make some adjustments here? Because we got everything. We know how to speed it up and slow it down. We know how to set altitude. But let's go up here to this little corner up here and hit the menu. And we see our flight plan stretched out in this little menu, okay? And we'll just squeeze it all together. So here's the different waypoints down at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. And you'll notice the 9 is the landing. Is landing. That's what the green shows. The first one, waypoint 1, is takeoff. And our takeoff point is when I hit the flight plan link, it's gonna shoot up to 20 meters, or what was that, 60 feet. Okay. Now, one of the things we can do is anywhere along here, we can change the camera angle as it looking up or down. So to do that, we take this green guy over here at the end, we drag him down here to, let's just put it right on this one, okay? And right now the camera's looking straight out, and it's gonna, if it were to change angles up and down, it would do it 30 degrees per second. So we tap on that, and what you can play with this, but what you want to do is you want to make very small adjustments. So we're going to send it down 1 degree, okay? Now that's going to cut out a lot of the sky, and so we see mostly ground. If you leave it at 0, you pick up a lot of sky, and if it's a very bright day, the ground gets dark. So this will keep that from happening. So that helps there. And then one other thing, if we go across here, if we wanted to take a snapshot, as you can see up here in the very top, the camera is over here on the left, and up at the very top, it's going to take a video all the way across. And so if we wanted to, for instance, if we wanted the video to stop here, and we'll say, well, it's going to say video recording. So if we want to, we'll drag this down here to that. Oh, that's not going to work. Let's see. How are we going to, we pull that up out of there. That's right. Okay, so it's going to stop recording between 4 and 5, and then we can have it take a picture there. Okay, so we could do that, but we're not going to do that. We're going to leave this as a. Okay, we're going to bring this back down here and put it there. Okay, so now we got our angle set. We got everything set, except we need a what do you call it? A point of interest. So let's go back to our map, and let's say that somewhere along here we want to take a look at this swimming pool. Okay, so we're going to look at that swimming pool. What we're going to do is we're going to put a point of interest there. So we put our stylus down or our finger and we just hold it there. Okay, now we can select a point of interest. Okay, and what we're going to have to do to look at that as we're coming along, over right here, we'll select a waypoint. We'll insert a waypoint. We'll insert a waypoint here. And we'll insert a waypoint here. Okay, now and then we want this waypoint there. Now when the drone comes along here, it's going to look over at that swimming pool and go on past it. And if we want, we could slide this over this way a little bit, start it sooner and end it later. And so that's how we set a waypoint. I'm sorry, a point of interest. So we got a point of interest on the swimming pool, and that 3M, that tells us that we're looking at something 3 meters off the ground, which is about 10 feet. So that's how point of interest works. And the thing is if we wanted to, we could swing this one in here, and swing this one in here, and then kind of look at it from the side and stuff. But I'm not going to get in trouble with my neighbors, so I'm going to put it all back here. And we're just going to look at the swimming pool. And if we want it, we can hit this and make it less than 3 meters. We can aim at the ground pretty much. I think we can get it down. Yeah, we can get it. We'll just change it to 2 meters. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got everything set up. Let's go save this. Okay. And we'll go back. Then let's go to our menu. And if you look here down at let's go back and take a look at what numbers we're looking at here. We're looking at 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we'll go to our menu. Menu, there we go. Okay. And we're looking at 4, 5, and 6. So the camera angle that we had, we can't bring it down to 4, 5, and 6 because that's going to be set by the drone. But when we get down here to 7, we want to make sure it goes back to 1 degree. And so we'll tap that, and we'll set this to 1, and click OK. Because otherwise, if it'll hold that angle to the angle that it was looking at the swimming pool. So then the rest of the trip is going to be looking down at the ground. So let's go back here, and let's do something here. Let's see. No, we've got that done. We got that all taken care of, except that this guy and this guy. There we go. Come on. There we go. There, now we got them connected. Okay, because one of the things that happens is when you start messing with stuff, things change, and that's why you got to double check and triple check everything. So here we are. Let's look at every point. We got 31 meters and 31 meters and 31 meters. All of those. 31 meters of both of these guys. 20 meters at both of those guys, and the landing is going to be 5 meters, but the other two are 20 meters. And so theoretically, we're going to be okay. We're not going to run into anything because we're high enough all the way. So we've got our flight plan made. We'll go over here and we'll save it just to make sure everything's like it's supposed to be. And then we'll go back, and tomorrow morning I'll fly this flight plan and we'll finish up this video. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll continue on. So stay tuned.